Okay, so you minutes anymore for Wednesday, December 7th. The first item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the November 16th.
Waiting for you, gotta hold on a second.
Oh. Okay, our first order of business is to approve the minutes of the November 16th, 2022 meeting. Does anybody have any additions or comments to those minutes? No, would someone like to make a motion that we accept the minutes? Charlie, someone for second, all in favor? Aye, any opposed? Any abstain? No, okay, it was Charlie and Nicole. And at this time, I think that we are going to invoke attorney-client privilege. Is that correct, Don? Is that how we say that in the prior minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to exit for a short period of time, and you guys can all make yourselves at home, and we will be back in a few minutes.
That's right. I unlocked it.
John. Brothers. Mike. Yeah.
That was his grandparents.
Maybe they, what happens sometimes is go open those valves up and they realize. Yeah. That's great.
All the trying to be on the grid.
Yeah.
Meeting.
I got a few old years ago, so I overstayed our.
Fight first. Rains.
Yeah. So, the United. Yes. Too much. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to be on. Yeah, just kind of good. Yeah. Here. The lights were all. Yeah.
Anybody wants to speak during public comment for the special use permit pizzeria, I need to sign in your name and address. And then I'll call it.
We're good at all that.
Yeah, I bet.
We have a Christmas tree up at the lake.
No, that's all these ones being very possible. Yeah, it's not. You don't have to. Alright, you do.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is the Stott special use permit and a public hearing. Hillary Stott, 75 Landcap Road, Union Falls, requesting a special use permit for the property owned by Michael Yotis, located at 6 Victor Menden Road, containing 0.47 acres to operate a pizzeria on said property, tax account, blah, 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 zone commercial business. So Hillary, would you like to come up and let us know what your plans for the pizzeria is?
So, basically, we're in the process, that's why I got Jeff Clark to, close on the actual property, from Mike. but in the meantime, because there's, it's just taking a while, we would like to reopen the pizzeria under a new name called Bumpus. So we haven't made any serious internal changes at all to the layout or the parking or anything from what it was. So we were kind of thinking it was going to be a turnkey situation. So I wanted to bring you guys pizza tonight, but we had a water main break. So you don't know free samples, but other than that, we would start in the winter with a very limited menu, and then in the spring, hopefully expand the menu because we're opening obviously much later than we wanted to. The health department has been applied for. They have received the same site plan that you have received. I spoke with them today. They're very happy with the site plan and they're ready to come out and do a walkthrough whenever we're ready. Mike was in good standing with the health department, so we haven't made any changes in terms of what the health department requires. So all the equipment's the same. We bought pretty much everything. So I guess it'd be more helpful for me if you had specific questions.
I don't know, guys, do we want to start with open our public hearing and let our public speak and we can get a feel for what the community is thinking about this too? So we'll open the public hearing now. We are going to leave the public hearing open in case you are coming back to another meeting. The hearing will be open and everyone will be welcome to come back at that time too. So Katrina?
Yes, I'm getting my, I had it ready to go. The first one's Jim Conley. It's at 11 Mill Street.
Oh, and you know what, I just want to say
3 minutes.
3 minutes because, we have a lot of people that have signed up to speak. And so everybody's going to speak, have 3 minutes to speak. If you want to say something else after everyone has spoken, you can loop back around and you can have another go round. We probably won't do a lot of interacting. We'll probably be doing a lot of listening to what you guys have to say. So come on up, Mr. Conley.
So I'm the adjacent property owner to this. So the cottage, the pizzeria, and then I own all the property to the north. So I'm surprised that they even have to go through this process. We'd love to have another place to eat in Mendon. For sure, it's an upgrade. Hopefully the property will be upgraded as well. We have no problem whatsoever for that being approved for this special use permit. A couple things I just want to add to the proposal though. I've already talked to the Stotts, no problem, not expecting them to pay for what we're talking about, but we do want to, as part of this application, add privacy fence to just prevent pedestrian traffic from my side going to them and also their side going to mine. If you don't know already, we just changed Mendon Pet Supply, which was a commercial business, to a residence, and that's where we'll live during the week. And it's coming out fabulous, and we should be in by Christmas. So at no cost to them, we'd like to be able to put privacy fencing up pretty much on the property line where there might be setbacks that we have to overlook. And then also currently we have some large cinder block drain pipes protecting damage to the building from cars. We'd like to remove those and put in some bollards that are just a little more tasteful and classy. If anybody needs to know what bollard is, I can explain, but it's basically we're not going to make it yellow, but it's a pipe that prevents like a bumper from hitting the building because we've just spent a lot of money. But at the end of the day, if those two things are accomplished, we're very, very supportive of them being able to do this. Okay.
Thank you.
What address do you want to put the fence at?
There's two addresses, 11 Mill Road, and then connecting into 1384 Pittsford Mendon Road. So those are the two properties to the north that we own.
Okay.
So I believe, with the exception of their own property, we're the only property adjacent to them. I own both of those.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can we do them red and green to match the pizzeria?
We can just get covers for different seasons. How about that? So we'll do red and green for Christmas, and then we'll do red and Valentine's.
Oh, we could have fun with this.
Yeah.
Katrina, who's next?
Next up is Sharon Hurley at
Okay.
10 Victor Mendon Road.
Hi, I'm probably the oldest person in Mendon right now. I own my property at 10 Victor Mendon Road. It is across the creek from the pizza shop. It's the first house on the right coming from Victor, the first house on the left going to Victor. We've lived there a long time. We've raised our 3 kids there. Our grandkids live here. I have absolutely trying for weeks and weeks and weeks to figure out why this town is against businesses. That's been a post office, an ice cream parlor, 2 pizza shops, perfectly fine. I've not heard one neighbor in that neighborhood complain about what they're doing. If everything, as far as I'm concerned, has looked 100% better than it ever has. It's a historical building technically, because it was the post office until the plaza came in. And I just don't understand why the town gives everybody a rough time for a business. We want commercial property, and then the town kicks them in the can for trying to be a commercial piece of property. And when we bought our house, I was a commercial piece of property. I live in the old Mendon garage. That's how old my house is. And then one of the supervisors came in, you are no longer a commercial piece of property. You're residential, which is fine, was fine with my husband and I, but I just would like to have someone explain to me why. First, the apartment, that pizza shop has been an apartment since I bought my house. When Al and I bought our house, people lived upstairs. Then you give them a rough time on having to turn back into what it already was. Now you're giving them a rough time on making it a pizza shop, which it already was. I would like and appreciate someone explaining to me why all this is going on in our town. You want business, the taxpayers want business, and then the town boards dump them. I give them credit for sticking up and going through with it all. Because I'll tell you right now, the last year and a half after Mike went out, that place looked like a dump. I give him credit for doing it. I give Mr. Conlon credit for doing it. And it's not hurting my property at all. Because I live in a non-commercial zone. If I was to sell my house, I'd have to get a permit to make it commercial again. But you people seem to be against businesses. If they wanted to tear it down and build a $500,000 house there, would you allow them? Probably yes. For some reason, Mendon thinks houses are better than businesses. And when you live in a town over 50 years, it really upsets me to think the town is doing what they're doing.
I'm sorry, Ms. Hurley, you are at the 3-minute mark. I'm sorry.
Next.
Angela Pollock is here. I agree and would love some sort of reasoning as to why they're even having to get the special use permit. I'm a little confused because it's the business district, it's a business in the business district. I'm not sure if all the other restaurants have to have a special use permit or currently have one or having to apply for one. I don't know if there was some change. I would also love some clarification at some point as to why they're having to do this. I think Hillary's businesses show us that, you know, she does a tremendous job and our hamlet is thriving because of Hillary and because of all of her community involvement. So I think I can't imagine a reason why she wouldn't be allowed to have another successful business in the hamlet.
And then Christine Brush is next. I really don't want to stand up, but I hate other people. But anyway, I own Mendon Academy. So that used to be, so it's 1835 building. It used to be the school. And then it became the firehouse. And then it was owned by Anna Wayne Frank, who had the Golden Lakes Gallery. I've owned that building since 2010. But the reason I'm like especially interested in seeing the pizza place put back into business is because I think it's a bad reflection on our town to have vacant properties. It looks terrible. I mean, that place, I don't know how long it's been sitting there, almost 2 years uninhabited. And it gets worse and worse. And I feel bad for Sharon because she's got to live next to that. Jim's house is next to that. The cottage, which is, you know, a thriving business. It draws a lot of people into town. So why would we want to have a vacant piece of property? And I wasn't actually at the meeting last time, but I heard you guys gave, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say to you guys, but the board gave the people that came that just now own the Chinese restaurant a really difficult time And I just don't understand. I feel like Sharon, I want to know. Do you not want business in Mendon? Does anyone on the board own a business in Mendon?
No,
Yes.
in the Hamlet or?
No.
Do you have a brick and mortar
Well,
business?
this is a you can make your comment, but I don't think.
We're not good, we can't engage in conversation.
Okay, but anyway, I would like to know if anyone does. I would have tried to find out. So when our planning board terms up?
I think they vary.
Well, this is a public hearing on a specific application for the board that deals with the pizza shop, so.
Okay,
let's
all
talk
right.
about
I
that.
got some other questions, I guess. But anyway, I just feel very strongly that they should be able to open their business without any further inconveniences.
Next,
That's all.
that's it? That's all the people that wanted to speak? Okay, so, first of all, I am very sorry that all of you think that the town of Mendon is anti-business. We are absolutely not anti-business. The planning, I'm sorry, we're not going to engage in conversation. I'm just going to speak to what you've all said, just so that you know. We have a town code that we have to adhere to. If you read our town code, you do not like what's in our town code, you think that the town code needs to be changed, you are free to petition the town board to change the town code. Our position as a planning board is we need to follow the town code. So to think that we are just sitting here haphazardly saying you can't do something because we don't want you to do it, it's just not right. So if you have a problem with the town code, feel free to look at the town code, petition the town board, and they will change the code if they see fit. But now this planning board needs to be accountable to what our town code is right now. So without any further ado, does anyone have any questions from the planning board?
I have a question. So.
Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean the public, I meant the planning board, I'm sorry. Okay. Earl?
I need to see loading for your septic system.
What do you mean by loading? What's that wording?
Your septic system requires, it's in a parking lot, so it would be called H20 loading, which would mean that you can put a truck over the top of it without collapsing the system.
Yes.
That'll be in the specifications, and we need documentation.
I know, so Mike doesn't have specification.
Can I
Okay,
cover?
go
It's
ahead.
not under the parking lot, it's off to the side.
Well, the tanks are.
But
And nothing has changed. See, our biggest argument with this is we're taking an existing business, willing to take it over within a year's period and continue on with every permit and every approval that he had to operate that business. And this is where it turns into a different situation that we're now getting approvals for all these things that he already has approvals for.
So
hold
it
on,
was-
hold on a minute.
Wait,
Let me-
can I
let me-
answer, Earl?
I'd like to interject.
Yes.
We're here to consider the special use permit application that you made, right? So you've already made the application, and that's what we're considering.
So
Right.
I have an answer for Earl directly. Mike did it himself. We don't have specs. I mean, the truth is the truth. You guys, he did it himself. He went and bought the takes from Lakeland. They're weight bearing for traffic. He got them from Lakeland with the intention of having them under his parking lot, those two tanks that you see. But like when we put ours in at the cottage, we had an engineer do it. We have specs. Mike doesn't have that. You have what I have, and Lakeland built those tanks with the intention, they're all weight bearing. That's what Mike is telling us, and that's what Lakeland told him.
Lakeland has that spec. All you have to do is inquire and include it.
They just built in the tanks. I don't know if they spec'd out the whole system, like, like mine, ours at the cottage, we have pages and pages of specs and engineering documents. Mike did it himself, like he did everything else. So as you can see, the quality is very, very good.
I have a suggestion on this
Thank
issue.
you.
Perhaps we can defer to the building inspector to make sure that there aren't any issues in that regard.
Corey did like them. He said that he did see them when Mike was building them and he saw the pictures. So yes, that would be helpful. But we did speak with Corey and Mike spoke with Corey about them.
So once
I'm sorry,
again, this was
confident.
approved years ago. when it was put in
Mike got it inspected?
by Tori or the town or whoever was the town inspector.
Back then, yeah, however things were done then differently than they are done now, yes. And I did speak with Mike at great length about, and then I made a little flow chart just because I don't have specs, so that's just a flow chart of how the tanks actually work to get the water potent. But yeah, Mike put them in with the intention of those parts being under the parking lot and weight bearing.
Anyone else?
I know, I mean, just needless of, digging it up. I mean, I know Corey saw them being built, but I mean, there's nothing else I can do on paper to give you than to create a flow chart from how Mike described how the system works. But there's no like,
Right,
I have like a packet for the aeration pump,
right.
but there's no packet for that system at all. I'm sorry to say. You can see him in those pictures actually installing it himself. He just did it.
So let me also let you know that when Mike's special use permit expired, ended, he was no longer using that as a pizza shop. Town code requires that when you're going to reopen as a pizza shop, which we are completely 110% in favor of you opening
I know.
the pizza shop.
I know.
Okay, we really do want you to open it. But you have to now, because it didn't just flow from one person to the other, there was that break of over a year. And that's why you need to go through the whole process
understand.
all over again. This is probably very similar to the same process that he had to go through however many years ago he opened the pizza
We didn't
shop.
have to do
We
this.
did
for-
not have to do any of this.
Yeah, this wasn't.
Years back. This is all
That's
brand
why
new.
we get confused.
Okay,
Just
so
so you know.
anyway, so I'm just saying that's why. It's not because you're going from just one owner to a new owner, you're actually,
It's just a different planning board. So in the past, with the other restaurants, we didn't need special use permits to open. We had to get a special permit for the patio build out, but not the restaurant itself. So that's why for us, this is very new and we're trying to be respectful, but it's also a new process that we're not used to. We bought the restaurants,
Right.
opened them, we got the health department, the liquor license, blah, blah, blah. The town walked through, told us what to do to get up to code. We got up to code and we opened. So the special use permit is new for all of us, including the residents, and we're trying to be respectful. So that's not really the issue. I just really want to answer your questions in a timely way because my issue is I don't want to lose staff. I have people that are ready to work. I want to expedite Mike's exits. The sooner I get approval, the sooner I can get his junk out of the backyard, which Jim wants, Sharon wants, the cottage hotel wants. I mean, our pressure is not really to put on you. It's that we are running a business and we do have staff that want to work and we do want to sell pizza.
okay. So without all of this, I know we can go on and on and have
Exactly.
lots of
So let's
conversations.
answer all your
So my
questions.
question is, and I think this is what we discussed as a board, correct? You do not have a site plan for this application, one that is to code.
What do you want?
We want what Katrina sent to you on October 6th. In an email, she sent you the link to what is required for a special use permit.
I guess I don't understand it. Back to being a small business. I don't have like an engineer on staff. I gave
You
you
don't
what
need-
my contractor gave me and then I blew it up and then that wasn't good. So we hand
So-
wrote it. We hand drew you a picture. I don't,
See,
you have
but
to
that's-
tell me what you want. I don't know what you
We
want.
need a
Lauren.
site.
I
You're
don't-
talking about the 103, 260, 103 requirements, is that?
Hold on, I'll tell you what.
So the one that we
Okay,
hand
the
drew.
260-24, the general provisions. The 260-102, the application procedures. And the 260-103 application details.
I just want to help frame this a little bit, back this up. The board doesn't really get to decide what its own jurisdiction is. There was for whatever reason, you made a special use permit application to this board, and now this board picks up the code, looks at what is required to get a special use permit. That's what we're charged to do, so that's what we're doing.
So you want me to like hire an engineer to do a site
I'm
plan?
not gonna advise you what to do, I'm just
You
telling
have to
you.
because we don't want to come back unprepared again. I sent one, it was too small, so we hand drew it bigger with more details and it has all the, I don't know what you need.
Can
I don't understand.
I'm kind of, I'm just a friend of theirs, I'm also an attorney, I'm helping them through the process, I just kind of came on board here. I understand what a site plan is, and I'd be happy to advise them on how to put one. It
Yes,
doesn't require it.
what the requirement
that I care most about for the site plan is that it be to scale. Because that's the only way we can determine if the clearances are, you know, what they need to be for the current code. Currently, you've given us a layout, which is helpful, but it doesn't really answer some of the questions about scale. Like for instance, the dumpster where you have it located, is that going to be a problem with a turning radius for vehicles, especially if there's more than one vehicle there? I don't know the answer to that because I don't have the dimensions. And, you know,
So you want the dimensions like of the dumpster too?
so basically, if it's drawn to scale, then I don't need every single dimension because I'll know just by looking at it proportionately if it's going to work. This is, since it's not to scale, it makes it very difficult for us to answer any questions that we might have. If, you know, I don't want to tell you how to go about doing that. Typically, people will get a survey. If you can't afford to get a survey, an aerial photo is to scale. You can print those to scale, you know, and trace over top. I don't, you know, we don't want to say that that's the caliber that we need to do, but if there's a financial hardship and you can't get a survey, you know, we're willing to work with you on that. But we need something more than a freehand sketch because we can't make certain determinations with just a freehand sketch. So it's hard to talk about everything else, even though, like you said,
So since we're
completely
here
happy.
and I know you have other people and we have to redo that, what else do you want us to redo? I don't want to come back and then find something else that you're not happy with. Can we just have a list?
Once we
That's
see
a
it drawn to
little bit more
scale,
clear.
that might trigger other things that we would have to talk about. Or we might look at it and say, it's fine, there's plenty of space here. Any of the issues that seemed like there were are not an issue because you do have enough space.
We don't have that from Mike because you're saying he did have a special use permit, which I don't think he did have. Again, this is a
I
new.
think, and Don answered this much better than I, but I think once the property's been abandoned for a year, you do have to reapply.
I get that.
Hold on, can we stop right there?
Just want to finish what I
Yeah,
was
I'm
saying.
sorry.
Okay.
We are not here to discuss jurisdiction.
Right.
You made an application to this board. This board doesn't get to decide who comes before, who doesn't. You're here for a special use permit. So that's
No,
where we're starting. If
We
you-
were forced to
But
come
this
for a
board,
special
didn't-
use.
this
permit.
board
I know they
is
did.
here because you have a special use permit for it.
But
Maybe tell
can
us
I
more.
say something? So what I'm hearing is very different than what we were told. So what is the 1 year period?
So again, this board didn't make that determination if there was a determination made. We're here to discuss your application that you made to the board, why you made it. That predates you being here before.
Well,
the board.
twice, two different people had said it's been abandoned for a year. And the reason I'm bringing this up is we approached Mike and we're ready to have this business reopened within a year of him closing. So we wouldn't have to go through any of this. And we were told we had to go through this.
Okay.
But
this
now you're
board
telling
didn't-
me this
I'm not
1 year
telling you
thing
anything. This
that,
board didn't tell you that.
yes, they did.
This board told you. you had to have it.
Absolutely.
I never said that.
Wasn't it, Ms. Smith?
No,
Yeah,
I
I'm not, I
didn't.
guess I wasn't aware of it, if that's how it happened.
Yeah,
but-
that's what we were told, because we wanted to get this
Okay,
in
so
within the year, so we didn't have to go through all this.
But that being said, you made the application.
Because we
and-
were forced to.
Okay, and the code enforcement officer issued a letter that said, these are the things that we need to look at. I don't know if you got that letter.
I didn't
hope you did.
understand some of it and that, part of it is on me. I was really out for like 3 weeks with pneumonia and I
Mhm.
was home. And so I had to try to have other people try to get this in time to be here today. So then, and then the narrative, Katrina didn't think she got it, but she did get it. So I rewrote it. And then, yeah, with our like,
Rewritten was the same one that submitted, which is what they.
oh, okay, because I rewrote a new one too. But anyway, and with the email threads, I didn't really catch about that. And then when I printed it out and read it, and I thought that I did a good job. So I just, I'm really apologizing to my partners and neighbors that I didn't do the site plan right.
Yeah, I think the board is interested in proceeding with the application, right?
Absolutely.
But we have this letter
Approving it tonight?
with proceeding with this application. We have the letter from the code enforcement officer that
May I
these
read
issues
you
we're talking about are all from the letter.
Corey's comments here? Per the town zoning code, blah, 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 a special use permit shall authorize only one special use. More than one special use permit may be allowed per parcel. A time period may be established by the designated board for each special use permit. At the end of this specified time period, the special use permit shall expire unless renewed.
Additionally, the special use permit shall expire if the use shall cease for more than 1 year for any reason.
That's what I said. to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, that's just you're reading from the code.
Right.
Corey's just saying the code.
Right.
Again, let me, maybe if I can be helpful. I know what a site plan looks like and what's required, and I'd be happy to walk us through that process so we can have that in front of you ASAP, so you can.
So what we're hoping is that maybe they can get that to us so we can look at this at our next meeting. So it doesn't go into next year,
Great.
if that's
Thank you.
possible.
That would be
Yeah.
so nice. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, we
So we have
really
another
do
meeting
want,
this month.
we really do want this to work for you,
Thank you.
but we have to have,
When you want to buy them. For that to be.
Well, Jeff and I will work on it tomorrow. Okay.
so I'm saying,
Sure.
can you have it
Right.
to us within a week?
Absolutely.
Okay, a week, so a week from today,
You bet.
if Katrina has it, she will make sure
Anything
that.
else you guys can think of besides that? Because it would be.
Well, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have the site plan and we're gonna look at it. And from that site plan, we are going to have, or some questions or no questions. I mean, I know parking might be an issue, but I think that we can probably work around, we can work around that because the pizzeria has been there before. Safety issues are things that we think about, public health, there are things that we think of, we have to look at, but, but without actually having that to scale drawing, we really can't determine how many, parking spaces you need or that you already have. I know you have some off-street parking, like in.
Yeah, there's that parking lot's ample, so that'll.
So,
that's
yeah,
fine.
and I mean, and you guys are doing a great job and it looks, it's beautiful what you've done so far outside. You're cleaning it up. I mean, we are definitely all about you opening this
I
pizzeria.
understand. Great.
And I'm sorry that, we're held to some of these
It's
standards,
just
but,
new for us, like. I
but we
said.
are. And so I would be more than happy to send you some of the excerpts from the town code to help guide you if you need,
Love Jeff.
if you need that, or
But
Jeff,
You're
you've
saying
got that,
everything
right?
else, the narrative is, everything else is
Well, the
okay?
narrative seems to be fine.
Sure. I just suggest that really the letter that was issued by the building department
Mhm.
kind of does a good job of
It
listing
does.
everything out.
But I think I addressed all that except for the site plan. That's what I'm asking, because obviously I missed that. So if there's something else, I'd rather just know now. Because if I do come back on the 20th, which I'm so grateful you can get us in this year, but I just want to be, better prepared,
Here's my suggestion. Take the letter. It's a 2.5-page letter. When you sit down with your attorney, show them the letter. Make sure you've gone through everything.
We'll-
Because the letter also talks about what's required in the site plan.
Right, and so,
We'll
right,
have it to you in a week.
yep, in a week, and then we'll see you the following week, and hopefully we can move forward from there.
Except for Christmas Eve.
I know. It is going to be, it's going to be a busy agenda on the 21st.
Okay.
And I'm thinking that you might be one of the last on the agenda for that night because other people got their stuff in ahead of time.
Mhm.
So,
No worries.
okay, okay. Okay. You guys are all welcome to stay if you want to stay. If you want to leave, could you leave quietly and quickly so that we can move on with our next agenda item? Okay, next on our agenda is the Giles site plan. Is there any, oh, here he is. Go ahead. So Kevin Giles, 285 Dale Road, Rochester, New York, for a site plan. Pre-approval for property located on Mendon Ionia Road consisting of 39.9 acres to construct a single-family home. Yep. Guys, really, you guys didn't have to go outside because we're trying to finish a meeting. That's okay. Glenn, we're trying to have a meeting here. Okay, Kevin, what you got going on?
Submitted the plan back in 2019. The plan hasn't changed, looking to build a single family. my property. So for what reasons unknown, I could not build back then and looking to do the same thing, just,
So it's just a simple reapproval.
that's correct.
Any changes?
Nope, no changes.
Nothing changed?
Nothing. at all.
Everything remains the same?
Everything's the same.
Does anyone have any questions regarding this? Mike, you had no issues with this, right?
No, I sent a letter to the
Yep.
board.
No,
Basically,
no comment.
Comments, it's a type 2 action under seeker, which basically means that you don't really need to do any action under seeker
Right,
because of its action, and I had no comment.
okay. Any other comments?
I had something very minor, just a
Sure.
housekeeping issue.
Yeah.
I think what, it says New York State Route 65, it's just actually 64.
I saw that.
No big deal there.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's a great set of drawings. No issues here.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion then that we accept
Not
it?
not that.
Oh, not yet, not yet. Oh, sorry, Earl.
The driveway,
Yes,
check with Corey, you may need to put additional asphalt coming in to the 20 feet right away.
Okay. Check with Corey, you say on that?
There is a little turnoff in there already, but I don't know
Correct.
where his dimension's gonna be for the 20 feet, just show it on
Right.
that plan.
Yeah, like you said, there's an existing drive there
Yeah.
that we're just tying into, so I can check with Corey.
That's all.
Anybody who would like to make a motion?
So moved.
Oh, so moved. Earl, anybody with a second?
Charlie, one or two.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained? Congratulations,
Appreciate it.
again. Thanks for being so patient. Okay, next item on our agenda is a Haas site plan.
Good evening, Mike, good to have you back.
Thank you, Glenn.
And good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, we're here for the high site plan, single family residential site plan on 10 acres of vacant land on Cole Road. We've developed the site plan, I think is code compliant. We're not looking for any variances or anything. We received comments from Mike and from Corey. Monroe County really didn't have any comments. We've addressed the comments, which were very minor. And now we're here to hear any comments from the board that need to be addressed. Oh, with me is Jim Bestwick. He's going to be the builder, and Justin Haas is the owner. Sorry about that. That's yes.
Oh, Charlie. I didn't sit down, how are you?
It looked, as I was looking at this afternoon, it looked like Corey had a comment letter. It looked like everything was addressed in the comment letter. Labella had a comment letter. It looked like everything, any concerns that they had were also addressed. Does anyone on the planning board have any questions that they would like to ask or things that they would like to have clarified?
On the driveway, you can use verified paper under.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Always.
The clearance over this orange pipe going across the driveway is a flooded line. That's all. That's fine.
I have a question about the driveway. On your detail on S2, says that you'll be adding 2 inches of asphalt later over the gravel. Is that,
Is that what we,
that's what it says on the detail?
yeah, in the future, right now, we're just showing a stone driveway unless you're gonna pave all the way up to the house. Now, we do show the asphalt apron at the road, which is a town requirement, so.
So is the grade that you're showing, is it the finished pavement grade or is it the stone?
Well, at the garage, it's finished pavement grade, the rest of it will be stone grade for now.
Okay. That's good. I just wanted to make sure you weren't 2 inches high when you got to the garage later when you're going to pave it. And then I just had a quick question with the septic. It looks like there's a possibility that water might be just sheeting over it.
From the back of the house. Yeah, we don't have any kind of diversion swale around it. It's a very small area of lawn. It's pretty flat. Pretty bad.
All right. If your engineer is comfortable with that, I guess. That's
Downspouts are directed away from the leach field area as is the foundation drain.
the only other thing might be helpful, if you had a few spot elevations, you know, maybe at doors or areas where water could be a problem, just to make sure that you're routing the water away from those areas.
You can add that.
Would you like to make that a condition of approval?
I don't think so. I mean, unless you think
No.
otherwise. More of a construction thing. That's all I have.
Anybody else? Mike, do you have anything that you'd like to add to this before we ask for a preliminary and final approval?
I got my responses back. Didn't have anything further. It appears they addressed those comments. And again, it's the site plan on an approved lot is a type 2 action, which basically means that seeker is complete. I think that's it.
You may have to increase the size of those top zones.
Absolutely.
You may have to increase the size of those top zones areas.
Oh,
Strip the
yeah.
driveway in the house, then you have a lot of dirt.
Yeah,
Couldn't
we
fit
may
there.
have to put one over on the west side of the driveway as well. Yep.
Along with the silt fence around it.
Anybody like to make a motion that we give this a preliminary and a final approval tonight? Okay, Teresa, anybody want to make a second? Nicole? Okay, all in favor? Aye, any opposed? Any abstain? Nope. Okay, congratulations. Happy building.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay, and then the next item on our agenda is. get my agenda.
Don't call me to frame the house.
I know.
Get a number together though. Put a
Yep.
number together.
I guess we just have general discussion now, so, I think on the 21st, we're going to have a very busy meeting. So we've got, oh my goodness, what do we have going on? We have the Aqua Center coming in to, an amendment to their, special use that we, what two things?
They're doing an addition,
Oh.
office, and then I think a shed. So an addition, and there's two
Right.
things they're doing on one amendment.
Right. And Robert Powell's coming back. If you guys remember, he had the dog training business at the corner of Chief Factory and West Bloomfield Road. So he's coming back. Katrina, is he coming back just for a second appearance? Has he amended his
It's not
Permit
an
add-ons?
amendment, so it's basically reappearing to you, because he wasn't sure what he was gonna do when he left the last time.
Okay.
So I guess it's kind of not starting over, but readdressing and seeing if maybe we can come to a consensus or something.
Okay, so I think one of the big concerns that we had and something that we want to be thinking about as we move towards that meeting with him is one of the things was the number of dogs that he was going to have on his premises at any given time. So he's close to the road. You know, in the past, we've limited that on other applications similar to this. So just if you guys just make yourself familiar with what the code says about that. And, you know, Katrina's got the other past people, kennels, dog trainers group, like,
Right.
Right.
There's one on claims.
right. So if
three
anybody
different
needs,
ones.
right, so if anybody needs additional information,
I was not here for that last.
Katrina can probably get that.
There's two
together
that
for
are
you.
more recent.
And then,
Was there ever a public hearing where neighbors could?
It's still open, yes.
Okay.
And Teresa will make the decision on if she wants, you don't have to recuse, it's entirely your call on that. Because she's one of the abutting neighbors. so I need to
Oh,
know. Okay, so yeah, nothing's changed, so saying that, do you guys still have the application? Okay, so I can email that to you.
Thank you. And the last, well, not the last thing now, but Josh Cowley,
Yeah, he's gonna do an informal discussion with you.
kind of like we just did with Hillary.
Basically, give him, he's coming in, he's got his lot across the street on Pittsburgh Bend Center Road, and he actually has 2 lots and he wants to divide. It's mainly, we have a small scale there. I have one set of big plans that you're welcome to look at the town, but I'll bring them on the 21st. And it's basically just letting you know, no, this one isn't to, code size or frontage or whatever, or they're all fine, you'd be good, you can start your whole site plan, whatnot. But kind of giving you some direction before we get so far into it, and then we're tabling it like we've had to do with another application,
Does he have an engineer yet?
He has the surveyor, Rocco, with his B.
Marco Venenzia.
There it is, yes, he and his wife have been involved. So he lives across the street from this property.
What's his name?
Josh Cawley, Cawley, he came before the zoning board and had wanted to get a variance on horses. And he was denied because we couldn't do the abutting property across the street because you can't consider that acreage. So he was getting a variance on the acreage size, he was denied it. And this is his next avenue is because he has to be able, this is what he's doing to a subdivision. And then you'll have Hillary.
And then we'll have Hillary.
And then your January, which I will send it to you. Your 4th is possibly this, I don't think the songs will make it by the 4th. I think we're gonna be looking at the 18th. Don will not be here at that meeting. But that would be the possibility of them coming back
On the 18th.
on it. Yes, no, excuse me. Yes, the 18th.
Okay, and that would be the song.
That's all I have so far. Nothing else is done.
But Don won't be here that night.
Right, so I don't think they're gonna have information to you, especially with the holidays. It's the whole septic that they have to show with
Brent?
the drawings, Brent. No, okay, we don't know, so.
He's slow. Don't hire
They
him. He's slow.
understood they might be in, I mean, they.
Okay, because I would really rather not meet without Don being here, especially after this. That's ridiculous. Okay,
So do you want me to send anything to Mike for this? So when we have special use permits, we don't get engineer fees. I never get a deposit. So this is something going forward. If you want the engineer to review, I need to know so I can get money from them. as a
So-
deposit.
so Mike, this song application that we're talking about, and Brent, jump in when you need to. Or right now, they have an issue with the septic system in this building. Are you familiar with it? It used to be called the Mendon Walk.
Yeah, Nicole just let me know. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay,
Do they need a new septic system?
yes. And
So that,
Brent is designing.
They will be
Oh.
going.
He's designing it. Well,
It's gonna
tonight,
be-
no, kidding aside, that needs to go through Monroe County.
It's Monroe County and DEC.
And the DEC for
Because
the
it's
commercial,
No, it's speeds.
And
Oh,
it's
okay.
DOT.
because. So, to Brent's point, it's really this board doesn't have any really approval authority. It needs to go to DEC. Well, I didn't know until now. It needs to go to DOH for sure.
Right,
But then it needs to go to DEC.
okay. So you don't need to, so there's nothing that you really need to look
I
at with something
don't-
like that?
No, but if you, and I'll ask Lauren to give Katrina permission to call me if she says, this looks something that may need a little bit more
Okay.
horsepower for an engineering
Okay, we'll
standpoint.
leave it at that. And Brent, you can help with that too. If you think that we should consult with our town engineer, you'll kind of let someone know.
Let me know. I mean, I just certainly don't want to make more work for anybody. You know, myself, I'm always glad to help, don't get me wrong, but if I don't need to be involved,
What he's saying is, please don't make more work for him. That's what he's really saying. Okay, anybody have anything else that they would like to add or talk about?
Katrina, you know I will not be here on January 4th.
That was the other thing. I knew that you weren't gonna be here. I have you written down. I didn't see them realistically
Right.
making it. Cause they even said that's gonna be tight. And I said, we have to go to February, we go to February. And February 1, it's the first, you know what I mean? It's not a. I think that's what, I'll talk to Jennifer, see where she's at.
Wait a second, is Jennifer gonna be on the 4th or is she gonna be on the 18th?
She's gonna be on the 18th. That's where there's no way they're gonna be on.
Okay,
When we were talking then, she's like, I think we have to, her and Steve said they had to do the later meeting.
okay.
So I moved them from one to the next, but realistically, I think we're looking at February 1. And I'll communicate with her. I'll call her Monday. I'll give her this week and then follow up. And we'll check with her engineer on what's going on with that. I'll see if I can get the date now.
Okay, anybody else have anything else they want to add before we make a motion to close this meeting? Okay, who wants to make the motion? Earl,
I'm gonna go a night with no motion. No, I already made one.
Earl, what?
Adjourn.
move to adjourn, second? Teresa? Yep, all in favor? Aye.
8:06.
Opposed? Oh. Hey, we did